Republican Congressman Michael Waltz is from there. He's National Guard Colonel and former Green Beret commander who served in Iraq and Afghanistan. Colonel Waltz, good to have you with us today, as always. Thank you very much for being here. I heard you say earlier that you were not looking forward to those beautiful Florida sunrises this morning. Now that the sun has risen and you're getting a sense of what's going on in your district, what can you tell us?
Well, the flooding is so far, Martha, is just catastrophic. The storm has pushed so much water into our waterways that were already saturated with a very wet summer. And then when those winds move offshore on the east coast of Florida, they whip around like a big right hook with additional storm surge. So the island where I live off of St. Augustine, the roads have been knocked out. One of the two bridges are down. St. Augustine's the oldest city in the country. 1565 was colonized by the Spanish, and the historic downtown is completely underwater. So this is right now it's about rescue. In addition to the National Guard's men and women that Jennifer mentioned, 1,200 of them just got back from an overseas mission, and now they barely even said hello to their families, and they're out doing this heroic rescue again. And just one other point on the military: those bases keep operating. Cape Canaveral, the Air Force Base there, Mayport and Jacksonville, but their families are having to do without their loved ones while they evacuate, while they board up their homes, while they deal with this flooding. So it's really just a double whammy on our military, and we just can't appreciate them enough.
Yeah, it's such a great point, because in moments like this, you have to do what you can for your family, but turn your attention towards your job and your pledge to protect people out there who need your help. So it's an extraordinary effort, and I think it is inspiring to all Americans to see the effort, to see people being carried out of these situations. What is your sense of how many people in your area might still be stranded? You know, did they feel like they were going to be in this situation based on the information that they had, or were they caught off guard to any extent?
Well, I mean, the problem with a lot of native Floridians who have been around a while is we get a lot of false alarms. And so I think people, when they're not right in that strike zone in Southwest Florida, frankly, sometimes get complacent. And then on top of that, we've had so many new people move in, 1,000 a day, especially during the COVID lockdowns, and so many other states wanted to come enjoy, frankly, freedom in Florida and may not know how dangerous these storms can be, even if you don't believe you're right in its path. We end up losing more people in the aftermath of storms from electrocution, from misusing generators, don't have their medicine refrigerated because of power outages than we typically do during. So we still have to be vigilant. We still have another high tide coming into the Northeast Florida area. I think once we get past there, we'll be past the worst of it. But please go to floridadisaster.org/info if you know of anyone who's stranded or you haven't heard of a relative. And our first responders, our National Guardsmen and women will absolutely do their very best, Martha.
Yeah, you make a great point, Congressman, and we watch some of our cameras and crews walking around in the water. We heard Nate Foy a while ago say that they had checked the area to make sure there were no downed wires. But that, to me, is always one of the most tragic aftermath effects, when you see people trying to get in and they get electrocuted by down wires. If you're driving your car through these, you cannot get out of the car, when you think there might be wires down, right?
No, that's absolutely right. Listen to your local officials. Hunker down if they're telling you to hunker down until they say it's safe. But, I just have to put in one more thing, Martha. From my position in Congress, the administration needs to give us that major disaster declaration for all of these counties. Right now, it's only for the Southwest coast. We need them on the East Coast and Northeast Florida as well with this major flooding, because it unlocks all kinds of other dollars. Then our locals are confident in spending those monies right up front, knowing they'll be made whole later on. So we need that disaster declaration for all of Florida from the president sooner than later.
Yeah, absolutely. It certainly is an emergency. There's no doubt about that. With regard to fatalities, what are you hearing? Because we haven't heard much of it, thankfully. And I'm going to talk to the Lee County Sheriff in a little while, who I think had a pretty serious prognostication for what we may find in his area. What are you hearing about that?
I'm really hesitant to speculate. I've been talking to the chiefs of our emergency operations centers, and right now they are just literally trying to get through washed out roads, washed out bridges to get to people. So I'm going to let them do their job, and let's hope and pray for the best. And then we're going to be in recovery mode, and that's where my job kicks in to really help our locals do theirs.
Yeah, and as Governor DeSantis said, time is of the essence. Right now, we're in the search and rescue hours of this, and there are no doubt people who are out there who will be rescued thanks to the efforts of the National Guard and others. And we do encourage everybody to try to check in with those who may be missing and try to point people in the right direction to find them. Congressman, thank you very much. It's always good to have you with us.
Thanks,
Waltz. Thank you, sir.